Hi everyone, how are you? This is part one of a four-part video recording series on Hilchot Purim that is going to help you, study Hilchot Purim. So the first part is called Hilchot Arba Parashiyot, the laws of the four special Parashiyot that we do during the month of Adar and Nisan. So without further ado, let us begin with the first halacha. Halacha Aleph talks about the first parasha of the four, which is Parashat Shekalim. So says the halacha as follows: Korim Parashat Shekalim B'Shabbat Hasemucha LeRosh Chodesh Adar Milefanav. We read the Parashat Shekalim on the Shabbat Hasemucha, that is closest to Rosh Chodesh Adar Milefanav, beforehand. So wherever Rosh Chodesh Adar is, the Shabbat before that is the Shabbat that we read Parashat Shekalim. So again, it is the key point over here is that it is Milefanav. That is the key point. And again, it is the one closest Hasemucha to Rosh Chodesh beforehand. And again, we are talking about Parashat Shekalim. However, Keshechal Rosh Chodesh Adar B'Shabbat, when it falls out on Shabbat itself, then Korim Parashat Shekalim Bo Bayom, we read it on that exact day. So I'm just going to exit this screen just for a second over here, just to show you how this looks on a calendar. So give me a second over here. Okay, so here I have a tab. As you can see, you can ignore all these red writing over here. Here we have a tab with this March 2016. Okay. Over here we have a calendar of Rosh Chodesh Adar Shtaim. This year in March 2016 happens to be a double Adar. Notice how Rosh Chodesh is on Thursday, March 10th and Friday, March 11th. And we said in the halacha that Shabbat Shekalim or Parashat Shekalim is read on the Shabbat before that. So the Shabbat before before Rosh Chodesh Adar would be March 5th, the 25th of Adar Aleph, and that is when we are reading Parashat Shekalim. As you could see highlighted in blue, Shabbat Shekalim is read on the Shabbat before Rosh Chodesh Adar. All right, let's go back to our slide. Alright, so we're moving on now to the next halacha. This one talks about Parashat Zachor. Parashat Zachor is the second out of the two Parashiyot that we read during the months of Adar and Nisan. And let's read it together. Parashat Zachor Korim B'Shabbat Hasemucha LePurim Mishelefanav. So this Parashat Zachor, is read on the Shabbat closest to Purim itself, Mishelefanav, right before Purim. Va'afilu imchal Purim be'erev Shabbat. Even if Purim falls out on Friday, makdimin Parashat Zachor leShabbat shelefanav. We would read the Parashat Zachor the Shabbat before that. So again, let us pause right here and go to the calendar, and we'll see it on the calendar. So we said that Shabbat Zachor is read on the Shabbat before Purim. Here on this calendar, March 2016, we see Purim right here on Thursday, March 24th. And the Shabbat before that would be Saturday, March 19th. And here we see again highlighted in blue, Shabbat Zachor. This is the Shabbat where we read the special parasha, Parashat Zachor. The second halacha we see over here in halacha bet is that Kriyat Parashat Zachor hi mitzvat aseh min haTorah. It is a positive commandment from the Torah, one of the 613 mitzvot, to read Parashat Zachor. Therefore, ve'en dai bizchirat ma'aseh Amalek be'machshava o b'dibur. It's not just enough for a person to think about remembering Amalek or just saying, oh yes, I remember Amalek. No, we actually have to read the parasha in the Sefer Torah Atzmo. And as the next halacha will show us, there's other halachot that are pertinent to Shabbat Zachor and the reading of Parashat Zachor. Without further ado, let's move on to the next halacha, halacha Gimel. Biglal zeh, because of this, tov leotzi et sefer haTorah hakasher vehamehudar beyoter likrot parasha. Therefore, being that this is a mitzvah from the Torah, we have to use the Sefer Torah that is most beautiful and most kosher. Even though they're all kosher, all Sefer Torahs are kosher, but the one that has the best writing, the one that was written by the best scribe, the best sofer, that's the one we have to use for Parashat Zachor. It's best to give honor to the mitzvah, being that it is a mitzvah from the Torah. Hashaliach tzibur yedakdek b'kriyah hetev. Now the Baal Koreh, the person reading Parashat Zachor, has to use the best pronunciation. He should make sure that he's pronouncing every word extremely carefully. Finally, Ra'ui shashaliach tzibur ye'orer kodem hakriyah. The Shaliach Tzibur should make it a point to announce to the entire Kahal that he's about to perform a mitzvah from the Torah. So he needs to announce it to the Kahal that he's doing so, and that the Kahal should listen to his Kriyah. Moving on to Halacha Dalid, this is talking about the obligation of the Kahal, of the congregation. Lo yikreu hatzibur belachash mitoch hachumash. Really, the tzibur should not be reading the words in the chumash. They should be listening. Ela tzrichim lishtok velishmoa hetev mipi hashaliach tzibur. You have to listen to every word while the shaliach tzibur reads the parasha of Zachor et asher asa lecha Amalek. And we say ma'alim chacham o talmid chacham la'alot la'aliyat maftir shel Zachor lo katan. Who is the person that goes up to the Torah, who gets the aliyah for maftir of Parashat Zachor? It should be a chacham or a talmid chacham, a Torah scholar. We cannot call up a katan, a young boy. We should give the honor to this very big honor to someone who has high stature, talmid chacham, or the chacham, the rabbi of the Bet Knesset. The third of the fourth Parashiyot is called Parashat Para. Parashat Para, Korim b'Shabbat shelifnei Parashat HaChodesh. We read Parashat Para on the Shabbat before we read Parashat HaChodesh, which we'll see soon. We're going to show the calendar for both Parashat Para and Parashat HaChodesh. Now, what's special about Parashat Para is that some say Harbe Omrim sheHaparasha Hazot Gam Ken Min HaTorah. It's also from the Torah. And therefore, lachen yesh lehizaher bechol adinim shene'emru le'el le'inyan Parashat Zachor. All the laws that we said before, you have to take out the best Torah. The Shaliach Tzibur has to read it very carefully, read it slowly. No one can talk during. Don't read the actual words, but just listen. All those laws that we mentioned in the previous slides apply for Parashat Para as well. Finally, the last parasha of the four, Parashat HaChodesh, Korim b'Shabbat hasemucha leRosh Chodesh Nisan milefanam. It is read on the Shabbat that precedes Rosh Chodesh Nisan beforehand. And Kishechal Rosh Chodesh Nisan b'Shabbat. Let's say Rosh Chodesh Nisan falls on Shabbat actually. Korim Parashat HaChodesh bo bayom. We read the actual Parashat HaChodesh on that day. One more halacha. Seder Kriyat Arba Parashiyot Eno Ela Be'adar Hasamuch LeNisan. All these four Parashiyot begin on the Adar that precedes the month of Nisan. Dehainu Be'adar B'Shana Regila U'Be'adar Sheni B'Shana Me'uberet. So this year happens to be a leap year, and therefore we have two Adars, and we read these four Parashiyot. We begin reading these four Parashiyot on the Adar that precedes in Nisan. That means it has to be Adar Sheni, because Adar Sheni, the second Adar, that is the Adar that comes before Nisan. Ve'im ta'u ve'kar'u otan be'adar rishon. Let's say a guy made a mistake, or let's say the community made a mistake, didn't know the halacha, and they read all these Parashiyot beginning from the first Adar. Lo yatzu yedei chova. They did not fulfill their commandment. Vechozrim vekorim ota parasha be'adar sheni. And they have to read them again on the second Adar in the proper time. So now, let's take an opportunity to look at the calendar so we can see where exactly Parashat Para and Parashat HaChodesh are located. So I'll pause this for a second. Alright, notice that we said that Parashat Para comes right before Parashat HaChodesh. And Parashat HaChodesh is right here. Notice how Parashat HaChodesh this year, or in 2016, falls out on Rosh Chodesh Nisan. We said that if Rosh Chodesh Nisan falls out on Shabbat, as it will be this year. As you can see, Rosh Chodesh Nisan is on Saturday, April 9th. Therefore, we read Parashat HaChodesh on that Shabbat. And the law of Parashat Para is that it is read on the weekend, on the Shabbat, before Parashat HaChodesh. And here it is. So 1 week before we read Parashat HaChodesh, we read Parashat Para. So Parashat HaChodesh is on April the 9th, and 1 week before is Parashat Para, which is April the 2nd. This year, Parashat HaChodesh is on Rosh Chodesh Nisan Atzmo, on the actual day of Rosh Chodesh Nisan, because Rosh Chodesh Nisan falls out on Shabbat. All right.